What's happening? I'm OG Hutch. I'm here with Kill Mac video and my all hood shirt. We about to ride through the hood and go to Hiram Clarke and give an origin of the Damu as far as the south side of Houston, Hiram Clarke is concerned.
For the dime moves and the lows, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Shit, ready. Come on, man.
Hiram Clarke, man, we in here. This is the sign right here. This is the city. Hiram Clarke Family. Hiram Clarke is made up of a lot of different neighborhoods. Brentwood, Meredith Manor, Cambridge Village, Windsor Village, Townwood, Canterbury Village, Alameda Plaza, Glen Iris. I mean, it's a lot of different areas. Krogerville, Dumbarton Oaks, Briarwick. We pretty much all come together, man, as one, because we all from different sections of it. And that the fact that we came from different sections of it is what made us come together and pretty much be Hiram Clarke as a family, Hiram Clarke Family.
What high school brought y'all together?
Madison High School is pretty much like the focal point there, which connects a lot of people on either side of Hiram Clarke. And the reason we say Hiram Clarke because it's kind of like a centerpiece, a center line where we either live on one side or the other, even though Canterbury might be on the other side of Alameda. Alameda Plaza is off Alameda, but we all still see one another as Hiram Clarke. Most of my homies live, you know what I'm saying, pretty much in all these neighborhoods out here. So a time before, there used to be kind of like some neighborhood rivalries. But these were in days, you know what I'm saying, that were, as far as that, during my younger time, during my younger days, that was before we said we was one. Came together, it's pretty much like one.
Boy, it's always something. So you said like the different neighborhoods didn't really get along or something. Explain how that goes.
I mean, sometimes, you know, just like you could be from Brentwood and end up having, you know, an altercation with somebody in Meredith Manor, and you know, you got a few homies that are from Brentwood. Y'all might meet up with a few homies from the Manor, and y'all might end up knuckling it out. I'm just, you know, using that as an example, not pointing at anything specific, but you know, it kind of like for us who at Madison, you know, we begin to see, I guess, sometimes like that wasn't always the best thing to do, to beef with one another like that, because we'd end up on football teams together, and that's pretty much how I got cool with a lot of people, because I played football. And so the fact that you playing football, you got all these people from different neighborhoods playing football. So of course you got to come together to be able to win games. And you got to have some type of unification to be able to win, or to come together and practice as a team. So we were able to pretty much transfer that over. Budmobile. Football was pretty much a unifying factor for us, man. And so I had a lot of camaraderie, and had a lot of respect for my peers, because I mean, we all knew each other. It was rough. Football was rough, so we fought it out on the field. You know, we smashing each other. So pretty much learn to give respect to one another. You know, 'cause I know this dude ain't soft. This cat know I ain't soft. So you know, once you pretty much know a dude ain't soft, you know, as a youngster, you know, you kind of have a little bit more. You know, you look up more to that person. You know, you respect that. You think 2 or 3 times before you just run up and challenge this individual, because you know this is an individual that will take a stand for self. So that was pretty much an interesting link that kind of helped me solidify some things out here. You know, in terms of Damu.
Give me a rough estimation of the boundaries of Hiram Clarke.
Okay, yeah, as we were leaving from where you were, Kev, the boundaries that make up Hiram Clarke are South Post Oak on the west. And you have Hiram Clarke Road, which actually the street runs in the middle of Hiram Clarke, um, which we get our name from. Is the easternmost boundary would be Alameda, and just outside Alameda, some houses out there in the neighborhood, Canterbury Village. You know, we consider that Hiram Clarke as well. As far as the southernmost border would be just before the Beltway, and just on the inside of the Beltway would be Hiram Clarke, where Briarwick is. Briarwick is probably the southernmost hood neighborhood that touches on the border of Hiram Clarke to the south. And then far as north, the northernmost border I would consider of Hiram Clarke would be South Main Street, and which is would connect with South Post Oak and Cambridge Village, uh, apartments up that way, what we used to consider Post Oak Village Apartments. It's named something else now, Cambridge Village Apartments. Those areas up there would be on the northern border of Hiram Clarke, closer to South Main. That's pretty much it.
What celebrities came out of your neighborhood?
Uh, we had a few celebrities. I mean, you know, in the rap game, you know, I'm gonna give Big Mello his props. And as far as rap, Mello got out there. I was actually involved with rap, and we were pushing ourselves. But Mello got out there. I had a lot of love for Mello on that. Rest in peace. He had football players. Broderick Thomas, he made an impact in college, made an impact while he was at Madison. He made an impact while he was on the football field in the NFL. A lot of respect for that brother on that note. And also, you know, one of the more recent athletes that we have is Vince Young. A lot of younger people will know Vince Young, who played quarterback at Tennessee. Made an impact at Madison, and he made an impact in college as well. And I always like to watch Vince play, because he made his business, in my estimation, to beat the Texans whenever they played. You know, the Texans should have picked him up. I guess they weren't ready for a brother to be a quarterback at that time.
Tell me what you was telling me earlier about the pop locking, Soul Train, and all that.
That's pretty interesting because, you know, popping was around, I would say, what, about like 79, 80 when it was, I think it really came out, and brothers would be down with trying to do the flow, especially on my football team, us, 79, 80, we were really into it. My homie Daryl Robinson and Terry Hill, the homie who just recently passed away, man, I had a lot of love for Terry, you know. Lil Rob was real significant with the floating, and Boogaloo and Doc, and then as pop locking came on board, and everybody was developing different styles, a homie from Los Angeles moved down here, the Oliver family. And I'm gonna just say my homie, you know, my homie G. And G came with a style from Los Angeles that was pretty much like real different from what a lot of people were doing. He was kind of like more fluid with his style because he was using his shoulders, whereas a lot of people would lock their arms and stuff doing things. G came with a style that was like real fluid and popping. And so we got together and with another brother, a real good friend of mine at the time, Alfred Kennedy, who was man, he was probably the coldest dude with pop locking at that time, man. So me and Alfred and Gary, we'd get together and, do moves. My homeboy Bud Anderson, he was real significant with that. Bud was real, he kind of like shared a lot. We were just, a bunch of dudes in school at that time. I played football. I actually used to be, a very, very nice dressed young man. I'd wear polo ties. I think I was fly, going to school. Jerry curl, all that. That's crazy, man, how brothers used to wear that drip and curl, man.
Mm. So you got family in L.A.?
Yeah, I have some family in L.A. I have family really all over L.A. And,
did they come visit, or did you go out to L.A. to visit?
I started visiting them more later in life. Like when I was during those high school years, I didn't really travel like that, because my parents, my mama was into her career. My dad was doing his thing. My mother was a nurse. She taught nursing after a while. And my dad worked at Shell Oil, and he got back from Shell Oil, and he got into his own business, roofing. And it was roofing is very challenging, and not a lot of room to go back and forth to different places. So yeah, I ended up knowing my family in Inglewood a little later on. I ended up meeting I have relatives I've come to learn out of, from Main Street Mafia,
So where does your blood influence come from? Tell me how that came about.
Again, Oliver and his family, and the other impact was from the Tatums. Tatum family, 3 different brothers, man. I love them guys. We all spent a lot of time amongst each other.
Was they from Inglewood?
Yeah, the Tatums and the Olivers, they were both from Inglewood. Tatums, the older ones, my boy Tyron and Paul, they were Crenshaw Mafia. Brian, I never really could get, Brian. Later on, Brian told me something else later in life, man. He was Crenshaw Mafia because his brothers was Crenshaw. And I like Brian. We used to ride, and we'd hang. We were smoking weed at that time, doing our thing. And, they talked about a lot of the things that was happening in the area in which they lived in Inglewood, and they explained to me their influences about blood. At the time we didn't actually use the term Damu in 1981. I learned Damu and the significance of our Swahili roots and the necessity to really use this term a little later on, but at that point, we were just blood. Old cowboy just flying through on his boat. We're about to kill it. So look at that. Film that.
I would have if he would have flipped.
Should have filmed that fool. Maybe he'll drive off into that bayou, man, and tumble over and get our laugh. I'm just kidding, man.
All right, so look, so they come out here and how did you get turned on to the blood stuff?
Like I say, you teenagers, you know what I'm saying? We 16, you know what I'm saying? I just happen to have transportation, and I always had a little raggedy brown Duster, and my homie G. He stayed over there in the Aristocrat Apartments. So the Aristocrats was just on the other side of Hiram Clarke from the neighborhood where I'm from. So it didn't really take, it was a few minutes for me to get over there. If I just happened to walk through the neighborhood or cross the barrio to get over there, or I just drove my car. A lot of times I always drove my car, I'm saying we hung out, smoked a lot of weed at that time. That's what, that's what you do,
So what was attractive to the lifestyle that brought you in?
Before that, I was always cool with a lot of everybody out of Hiram Clarke, but I spent a lot of time with my brothers out in Meredith Manor. You know what I'm saying? During those days, used to be the Eminem boys. Shout out to B.O., homeboy that passed away many years ago named Smitty. A lot of people knew Smitty. We all grew up together. Sterling, a homie of mine, we were all cool with one another. Everybody in the manor was pretty much like my second neighborhood. So I was cool with a lot of them brothers. So before, I embraced, the concept of blood, I was always down with my homies out of the manor, and I was cool with a lot of the brothers in Brentwood as well. I'm not leaving them out. I was tight with a lot of people, but I spent a lot of time in the manor in Brentwood, and sometimes in Windsor Village.
Wow.